You always have, as long as I've known you, you've always kind of had not awful women around. No, I shouldn't say that because like the one long-term girlfriend that you've had since I've known you she's a great person, but all the like other women around you have always been a little insane.
They haven't all been insane. I just haven't been in a very stable relationship in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm in my man whore phase / very single phase.
Right.
Yeah. I think every man in their life is going to go through a certain time span where they're single for a long time before they find stable relationships.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean I know exactly kind of what you're talking about. I have similar or just different issues with women. I tend to attract the right ones, except that when they find out more about me, they're usually just like not that invested in me.
Mm-hmm.
So like for instance, since I have a son, the only kind of girls that are into that are typically not girls that I'm into, because like I like girls who don't like kids or want kids, you know what I mean? And I have a deep psychological damage that makes me totally mistrust any woman who's not against kids.
Yeah.
So,
All right, well, last podcast I made myself pretty vulnerable still. I think it's your turn.
I can try to make myself vulnerable.
Just open up for me, big boy.
I don't know how.
Oh, it's all right. Teach me your ways.
Yeah.
This girl is still texting me. You deleted my number. That's funny.
Is it?
I think it's pretty awesome.
No, I mean...
I think it's just one of those subtle ways of saying fuck you without being so disrespectful.
Sure. I mean, yeah, just straight up, like, because the thing is like a phone, you can store hundreds of thousands of numbers and not fill up your phone.
Yeah.
So deleting it is like, well, I have nothing to ever say to this person ever again. They're completely useless to me.
Exactly.
So if a girl deleted my number from her phone, like, I'd be like, oh, well, fuck.
She's calling back. Should I put her back on?
Yeah, sure, if you want.
Okay.
Tell her she's on air.
So I'm assuming this is Kim.
Who?
Tell her she's live.
I'm assuming this is Kim.
Kim who? Oh, okay.
By the way, you are live on the air.
What?
You're live on the air.
Live on the air.
Yeah, say hello to the listeners out there.
Hello.
Great.
So, what have you got to say?
She
What?
can't hear you, can she?
No, probably not.
Oh. Well, what do you have to say, Kim?
What do I have to say?
Yeah.
I guess I said it.
And could you repeat that?
What?
Could you repeat that?
You have it in your text. It's in the, document.
The listeners out there can't read my text messages.
Who are the listeners out there?
There's at least 12 of them.
At least.
Who?
We don't know yet. This is very...
This is cutting edge. It's brand new shit.
Yeah. We're trying to do an intellectual discourse here. And since you were calling, we thought of incorporating you into our dialogue. So you could elaborate to our listeners and share your overall theme and feelings about me.
You just sound like you're talking just saying a bunch of bullshit that I'm not even... What? The listeners, whoever whom you have with you.
All right. Well, that's good. And what else are your feelings towards me?
Yeah, I want to talk to all of your listeners or all of your friends that you have with you.
Oh.
Or if this is entertaining to all of you guys.
It's the idea.
Well, they just really care about me and they want to know what I'm going through. So if you could just be honest with everyone, we could try to hone in on.
All right, when you return being back to a normal human and not from an adult fucking child, then I'll talk to you and tell you things.
Right on. Well, thank you for sharing your feelings.
Because now you're just being the big piece of shit that you are. So.
All right. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Mark, what the fuck is wrong with you? I called to have a fucking conversation with you, no one else.
Well, given the topic and the honesty that we're having with each other right now, I don't want to participate in this conversation. I don't want to participate in this conversation. And I think you're doing a great job.
Why don't you talk like a normal person?
All right, Kim. What would you like?
Maybe this will be a better for another time, you know.
Yeah, Kim. How about we have this conversation a little bit later?
How about you get me off speakerphone or whatever you're doing with your friend? Because I don't think it's funny. It's not entertaining to me.
Okay. Well, we're busy right now.
Both of you are being
Call back.
assholes, basically.
All right. Well, we're
You think
busy.
it's funny?
We're talking to our listeners right now. So.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Who are your fucking listeners? Are you guys on drugs?
I wish.
Right?
This could be a very interesting podcast if we were fucked up. But yeah, this is. It seems like you need to talk about something a little bit more deeply right now, Kim. So we'll talk later, right?
I just want to let you know that you're being rude, and I just called to talk to you, and you're acting like some weird person, and you're with your friend, and you're both being weird.
Okay, great. And then we could talk about this later. Let's see if I'm not being
No, we
weird
can't
then.
talk about this later. Mark, I called to talk to you, Mark Pachicha, not you and your friend, so you guys can laugh about this conversation later.
Well, I'm busy right now, so we'll talk later, right? Hasta luego.
You're a piece of
Wow.
Did you get that last part?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Got a piece of shit.
I think that's perfect.
I mean, it's tough because, yeah, we were being dicks to her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like,
You can't call with that kind of tone, you know, and just like, you know, if you want to dive into something very deep and emotional, you don't come off as being, hey, you're fucking asshole.
Right.
I hate you.
Right.
Great.
I
really
mean-
want to talk to you. We're starting off on great terms.
well, and that's the thing, because, like, from what I understand anyway, that, you know, there's nothing has really gone wrong. Like, you haven't been together recently. You hung out. She expressed that she liked some guy physically, and you were
Should we
like,
tell a story?
you know, well, briefly.
Okay.
Just go through.
Her and I were hanging out. We went to Tractor Brewery over on Central, where they have delicious beer, and hopefully they could sponsor us.
I don't think so.
At least provide a growler? Come on.
Maybe.
They have very attractive bar staff.
Which is actually the meat of the issue, is the bar staff.
Exactly. So, her and I are hanging out. She expresses her level of attraction to the bartender, who is
Wait,
this...
and just to interject real fast, is you two have had kind of a relationship
we've had
in
an
the
on-off
past.
relationship for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
If not longer. And, you know...
And mostly off recently.
Yeah, mostly off. We haven't been together in at least 6 months sexually. So... That's the real thing that matters, I suppose.
Well, you know, there's intimacy beyond that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, okay, clearly. She's a dancer. She's very entertaining, and she intrigues me as an architect. I find dancers to be extremely attractive, moving through space in their way of, you know, it's very expressive. And to be able to devise a floor plan or even a sectional relationship, just how someone is moving and feeling a rhythm is, you know, a very stimulating idea creatively as an architect.
You're interested in her art, and it gives you ideas in your...
And not so much, mostly in my pants. But but she's interesting. She's a dancer. Come on, who doesn't like a dancer? Anyway, we're at Tractor. She expresses her attraction for one of the bartenders. She catches me staring at the other female bartender, notices that I am attracted to her, and I express my attraction to her, which then in turn offends her.
Right,
My
but
honesty
that's at the same time too. You were there as friends, right?
That was my understanding. Yeah.
Okay, but it might not be that way now.
Yeah, because she's calling back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, fast forward to after the bar, I take her back to her house, I tell her I'm a little bit tired. I kind of want to call it a short night, but she says some remark, and I've been listening to some other podcasts, reading some books, and I was telling her about this book called The 5 Languages of Love, and it was just something really interesting, and she made some remark, and it just made me think about it. And as I'm like mid-sentence, she's tapping on her watch, saying that, oh, it's getting really late, you better go home now. I'm like, excuse me, all right, I was trying to say something, but have a good night.
Right.
So I just excuse myself as I get in my car. I look at this I look at the text messages, her phone number, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need to hang out with someone that's so disrespectful to me. And I know it's happened before. She's been disrespectful on multiple accounts, and I am no angel. I've been disrespectful to her as well. But
as we could probably have
yeah, I'm an asshole. All right, but be as if the listeners listen to our previous podcast.
Right.
I'm trying to be a little bit less selfish, being a better person and caring for others. So, I've been trying to keep the asshole level at a minimum. I guess it's kind of spiking up today. But
it happens.
Yeah. But all right. So I delete her number, delete her text messages. No need to contact her. It's been a great week, and today she sent me a random text message saying, "Hi, by the way, I hate you." And I responded by saying, "Who is this?"
Right. Which is I feel like that's a pretty deep jab. As I said off mic.
Deep jab, yeah.
Yeah, well, because like I said before, the space in your phone that a number, contacts, whatever takes up, to delete that person is basically saying that this person has no value to me whatsoever. I'm never going to talk to them, and I have no interest in communicating with them whatsoever.
If you have a thorn in the bottom of your foot, why would you keep a thorn there?
Right, but...
Well, you have all that extra body where you could have multiple thorns. It's not taking up that much space, but it's hurting you, and it's causing damage.
But to just to delete it, it's a bit of an asshole move.
I think the asshole move was saying, "Who is this?" If I didn't
okay,
respond, then
right,
it'd be fine.
Right. Well, by saying "Who is this," you told her, "I've deleted you.
I've deleted you. I don't want to talk to you again,
right.
and you're not important to me."
So, I mean, like I said, if somebody had said something like that to me or did that to me, no matter how angry or how bitter we had been recently, I'd be like, oh, fuck you,
But then you'd move on, right?
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know, you're very verbal and, you're a person with a strong opinion, so what would you do?
I mean, I would move on. I would be like, well, fuck that.
But are you the type of person to drive by their house and, fucking throw rocks at the window?
No.
Okay.
Has she done that?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Well, she doesn't know where I live now, so...
Yeah. Well, I think, though, that, women and men deal with things differently. Like, a lot of times, if a woman is hurt emotionally, she wants to get to the bottom of it. Not just, say, well, fuck that, I'm out, I'm done.
Yeah.
She's like, I've been wronged. Why is this guy being such an asshole to me? Even though, from your point of view, you're just like, you know what, I just don't need this in my life. And you might not be thinking of it in a very angry kind of way. In her mind, I think that she took that to be a very, incredibly passive-aggressive, fuck you.
Because it is a passive-aggressive fuck you. And, well, if it was me, if I would receive "Who is this" type of text message, then I would... I guess I'm not that confrontational. More text messages. Jesus Christ, this one's angry.
I bet. I mean, we did just kind of fuck with her on the show.
Yeah.
And again, because now she thinks, okay, well, he's talking about this with other people, but he won't talk about it with me.
Well, frankly, we've been together, or we've been interacting for such a long time that there's
you and me?
Yes. Steve, our bonds go down way deep.
I think they do.
I just don't need to be around someone that's all insulting.
Right. So
unless it's you, Steve.
Right. Well, I'm a rude boy.
Easy there, Rihanna.
What?
Rihanna? You haven't heard that song?
Uh-uh.
Oh, dude. Come on, rude boy, can you get it up?
Oh, okay.
Come on, rude boy,
okay,
can you get enough?
I got you.
Take it. Anyway.
That was good. Now, I was fully in that. I have heard that song before.
I know. See, I could paint a picture for you.
You painted that picture in my mind. So anyway,
So relationships and women. Is that today's topic?
I don't know. It could be. I mean, I don't really have anything to contribute at this point. Like I've had my fair share of relationships, and definitely a lot of complicated ones, especially regarding like incredibly
Religious?
no, like forced relationships and things like like where
Clearly.
nobody's really into it, but you're sticking together for some reason, and then other relationships where like I don't know. I've been through a lot of it, but I don't really have any relationship drama in my life right now, and there's really
Have you ever? Well, yeah, I guess you have had relationship drama.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the most dramatic obviously is my son's mom and I, which is good now because, we're awesome now. Like, we're friends, I would even say.
Yeah.
Like, we even have dinner, like, once a week, like, kind of as a family.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's great. But, there were times where that was really rough. And, it's kind of good to have moved on from it, but I don't know. I mean, I was also 19, 18 at the time,
Yeah.
so
what was that? 7, 8 years ago?
yeah.
Yeah.
So everything naturally at that, when you're that age is more fucked up, but it's interesting though, because now the kind of relationships I'm in, and like the most recent one that was meaningful to me that ended, it ended not in yelling, not in anything. It was just kind of over.
You're just like kind of an agreement, and
yeah,
right?
it was more of like a business transaction. Like, okay, well this, I don't really see this going on any longer. It's not good for me. So, well, and this is her.
No, yeah.
She's like, this is not good for me, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like a fight, or like we never fought or anything like that, and there wasn't really a moment. It was just like, you know what, I'm a different person, I want different things in my life, so I'm moving on. I mean, and this is also not exactly what she said. She didn't really say anything,
Sure.
but this is how I'm interpreting it. But yeah, like I think the person that I am, and who I have to be with, are people who are not like Kim there, who are dramatic, because dramatic people and me, I can't handle it, like, because I'm too, I would think that I'm too rational, but it also could be that I'm just too cold. So people, when women or anybody, even just in business or whatever, when people come at you with like some fire in their gut, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that.
Well,
and not to say that I can't be provoked, because I can go off on someone.
I know you can.
But I avoid that.
Doesn't crazy give you a little bit of meaning,
Well,
like,
it gives me a little bit of a boner, but
about you, Like,
well,
they're willing to fucking fight and compromise their homeostasis, their emotional state, because of the attention that you give or don't give them.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's the ultimate form of seduction, because they're completely hooked. They are completely overwhelmed with your personality, and they're just so heavily influenced on whatever you say and do to them. Like, part of it, yes, it's a little appealing, but the majority of it is just so unappealing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just so unstable. It's just so unhealthy, and it's just so frustrating to be with someone like that. And she wasn't like that at all for a good 9 months, whatever, 6 months. If anything, she was just very giving and very accepting, and a down ass chick for a while.
Yeah.
But that quickly changed as soon as you lose interest.
Well, she didn't lose interest though.
Clearly.
And that's where things went wrong, is she is still interested and you're not.
Yeah.
And she's having a difficult time reconciling that, because no, I mean, I've broken up with girls before where I didn't think that they really gave a shit about me. Like, I thought feelings were pretty mutual, and I walked away from the relationship, and they went absolutely bananas, and I'd see them, out and about, months later, like 3 months later, and we'd be at a bar or something like that. And I remember specifically, I won't, name names or anything, but, I was at this bar.
We
and
know who it is, Steve.
No, you don't.
Oh.
But you do know one person. Anyway, so, I'm just at a bar, and I'm at the bar with a friend of mine who is a girl, and that girl, Mariana, she brought a drink up to me and was like, here you go. And this other girl that I had dated at one point, was she came up to me and she was just like, hey, how have you been? And how have you been? Not how you been. How have you been? And I was like, oh, I've been kind of okay. And just at that moment, the drink and my, friend who is a girl showed up, and that was all it took to just go to pieces.
And light the spark.
Well, she just went into tears and ran out of the bar and left, and all her friends were there, and they all, left with her and all that, and it was, and I felt really bad because this person really, really cared about me, and I could not meet her on that level. Like, I just did not care. And it's, I don't know, like, I feel bad about that, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to be guilted into or feel bad about something so much that I'm going to stay in a relationship that's clearly not good for me.
Active dating is such an ugly world. It's a beautiful and very ugly world at the same time.
For sure.
Because so many factors go into it. If you try to meet someone, you're in a different place in your life right now. She's in a different time in your place. It has so much to do with demographics, timing, and just the state of the person. And there's very unstable people. And there's people that don't even give a shit,
Right.
There's some girls that actually find that attractive because there's that abundancy principle, We're like, oh, well, Steve's very desired, so I'm going to even want him more. So I'm going to go blow him in the bathroom right now. There's totally girls like that.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, it's also, your image, who they think you are is almost, especially when you first meet a girl and you're going to date her or whatever, who she thinks you are is so much more important than who
you really are.
Than what you have to say or even what you look like.
So are you saying that dating is just a salesman and having your salesmanship? You're offering a product and she's offering a service, and it's all goods and services.
You know what, Mark?
Exchanges. Is this just the economy of sexual desire?
No. I would actually say that it's the economy of life. Dig. Ready? Dig. So.
I think we need to play the podcast.
Okay. Is now the good time?
For the intro.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's been a while. Podcast. This is a podcast. Steve and Mark's Unnamed Podcast is live right now, but not live.
God, I love that. Makes me pumped.
Yeah, I think you liked it a lot more the second time around. Okay, so back when I was saying, and this will be like the weirdest intro, like half an hour into it. But anyway.
It's like the Lord of the Rings intro, where they give you like a good 45 minutes of
right, and then they throw it in there. Okay, so I guess what I was going to say is, it's dating, but it's also life, like to an employer, you want to sell an idea of you. You want to sell what you can do, what you could be, all the best aspects of yourself. And I think that is sort of what dating is. But the thing is and it depends on who you are. Some people are like pickup artists. They're suave and they can move in on a girl. I can't do that. I'm more of like I'm that guy who can
that attitude.
Well, yeah. Yes, you're absolutely correct there. But it's like I could break the friend zone kind of thing. Like that's my thing. Is I can just wear a
That's
bitch.
very commendable. Like, it's hard. Some people are traumatized by the friend zone.
Sure. I mean,
I've fallen into the friend zone.
Yeah.
Like we all do.
I mean, but the thing is like it has to work. Like I guess I would say that I've met a lot of girls who I was friends with and then became intimate with, where I think most guys can't do that
Yeah,
at all.
I think I'm the other way around. Mostly.
Well, I think most people are the other way
yeah,
around.
because well, actually, now that I think of it a little closer, I'm probably more like 60-40, where the majority is you hook up and then fall into the friend zone, but there is that 40% where you start off as friends and then end up,
Yeah. Well, and I guess just in life, you present a certain image of yourself. I mean, it's everything from the cars you drive, where you live, what kind of house you have,
But it's not
what kind of clothes you wear,
or
all
the
that,
way you
and
talk,
the way you talk,
the way you carry yourself.
present yourself, yeah, and how you speak to people. If are you flirty, are you not, or whatever, and different people respond to that in different ways.
Yeah.
If you, and I don't know, the way I always have thought of it is it's just kind of like you're putting yourself out there in certain ways, and people either respond to it or they don't. And if you're genuine, then you'll find people who are genuinely interested in you.
Yes.
However, you have to be out there. And for me, it's difficult for me to be genuine to people that I'm first meeting. So I'm, bad with small talk and stuff like that. So it's always, because I think the genuine me.
I think small talk is shitty all around.
Oh, for sure.
Truth,
I agree. And I'm not good with it. But, if I think being genuine is tough because I think I'm hard to take.
Huh. Well, I totally agree. Your
That I'm
personality.
hard to take.
Well, I'm talking about sexually there. No, it's hard to take your personality on for face value in initial interactions.
What do you mean?
You're kind of a overwhelming personality, Steve. It's kind of like, whoa. Sometimes you're like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. That's exciting. But it's like, holy shit, that's like throwing the baby with the bathwater. Everything coming at once,
Right.
So I think that when you approach someone, it's you have to have that flirtatious attitude towards you.
Yeah.
Speak very confidently, and coming off as being playful, interested, but not too invested at the same time. And when you reveal a lot about yourself very quickly, you're like, whoa, this person's coming off pretty strong, and you're like, wow, okay, I'm kind of like getting locked into this conversation now. What if I can't think of anything? And I think people freak, And
that's true.
If you lock someone in too quickly without giving them an escape route, then it's causing a lot of initial investment at the beginning of the interaction.
Right.
So that's why if you keep it like lighthearted, kind of feathery, kind of light, kind of easy.
No,
that's why small
that
talk
makes
is
a lot of
effective,
sense. Yeah.
because you could come and go as easily as you can, but you're also not igniting that person's interest.
That's true.
And if you come on as being too deep, then it's like, oh man, this is a lot.
Yeah.
So it's finding that you need to calibrate that.
No, that would make
little
sense
fine
because
line.
like for instance, I started a new job a couple months ago, and like at first I think everybody was like, holy shit, like what is wrong
Who
with
did
this
we
fucking
hire?
guy?
Jesus.
Yeah, like who is wrong with this fucking guy? But I made friends with just about everybody really quickly because I just kind of put myself out there.
Yeah.
But it's one of those situations where it's it's a captive audience.
Yeah.
And that's where like I'm good with like girls who become friends and break through the friend zone. Like when I have a captive audience, my weirdness at first is like, wow, that guy says a lot.
Speaking of audiences, let's thank everyone who's listening.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys
That's
are beautiful.
Thanks.
And you probably look really nice right now.
Yeah, I imagine every one of my listeners to be somebody I'm sexually attracted to.
Oh, most definitely. And they probably really care about like their image and their goals in life, and they're just totally driven people, and they just have awesome lives, and
yeah,
they're just perfect.
And I'd eat all of them.
Male or female.
Sexually eat them. Yeah.
Yes.
Blah, 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 blah.
Anywho, Steve, your job's going well. I assume you are seducing all your workers.
Yes and no. I mean, the thing is like it's mostly dudes, and there's not a whole lot of females that I work with.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, it's married older women.
Yeah.
So
that's a job market, unless you're working.
But the thing is I'll wear something surprising like my
banana hammock.
Yeah, exactly. Or my pink belt or whatever, and and they make comments, it's like, oh, that's amazing, or oh, I really like that, like it's kind of that stuff where it's like, it's a little bit flirtatious, but excuse me. So, I think
in the pickup artist community, they call that peacocking.
It's definitely peacocking, especially because, my workplace is so casual attire that, I dress up a little nicer than average. And
well, we're designers. Hello.
Right, exactly.
We've got to design the way we look.
Exactly. So, I do that, and, they take notice, especially because, I work with a bunch of people who, wear, like, the same T-shirt, like, 4 days in a row.
You're not supposed to do that?
Not typical. I mean, you're supposed to, if you launder it in between,
okay.
that's okay, but if you don't,
Sure.
Kind of depends. But, yeah.
That was George's voice.
Yeah.
What was his last name?
Newlands.
Oh, that's right.
George Newlands. Well,
you just need to maybe do laundry twice a week or something.
Yeah, get it in the wash and take it out.
George, if you ever listen to this, hope you're doing some badass architecture right now.
I heard he's
isn't he like in Dubai or some shit like that?
Yeah, I think he's teaching out there.
Nice.
Actually, Maggie told me something about that. I don't know.
Oh shit. Call her up. We need to get a guest on here.
Eventually, I think we need to figure out, get our legs podcasting wise and figure out exactly how we're gonna put this thing on, because right now we're just bullshitting, but
it's good bullshit. I think we're getting at some really hard-hitting topics here.
Potentially.
Yes. All right.
We can have deep thoughts in the shallow end.
Sounds good to me.
I think I've heard that from a podcast. I don't even know. Okay, so I did come up with a couple of ideas of things that we could talk about.
All right, so we're moving on from this feminine attraction, selling yourself type of mindset.
Yeah,
where it comes to women and the workplace and career.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to keep talking about that, I do not know.
I think it'd just be good to kind of put a little summary,
Okay,
a little bow with the package.
Okay, I mean, because I think we kind of like went on and rambled and went into like the workplace and stuff, so it became from a personal to like a more
general topic
of like how you present yourself to the world.
Yeah.
And how,
so what if we have some people that are listening right now and they're like, well, I just want to be able to kind of get what I want out of life and achieve the things that I want instead of the things that are handed to me. What kind of advice would you have?
Ooh, that's a deep topic. No, I mean, I don't. Okay, so we could go back to then my new job is, they hired me to do something that is just completely, not really my area. It was mostly like building and dealing with computers and, a little bit of fabrication stuff, which I'm familiar with and handy, but, it's not design.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do what I want to do is architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Failing that,
so plans, sections, elevations, rendering, space, light.
Creating space is what I want to do.
Okay.
Creating space and experience.
Cool.
That's what I want to do. Well, with this job, I, wasn't really doing either of those, but I was making good money, paying off bills, and, it was a good thing to hold on to in the meantime. And, and they hired me, and I told them specifically, the architecture market's bad right now, and that's what I want to do. So, and they hired me anyway. So,
so you're being very honest.
Yes, honest and straightforward with what you want to do.
So that seems like a perfect topic.
So and
a perfect conclusion, or not maybe conclusion, but maybe a general outline for life.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're honest with people, like, you might not get the job, but if you do, then there's nothing you have to, you don't have to compromise yourself.
Yeah.
So as I'm doing this job, I kind of tell them, I kind of keep hinting at where I could potentially serve them in a way that is a little, more playing to my strengths.
Yeah.
And more of what I want to do. So after about, and then of course just working hard, so like after about a month and a half, they put me in charge of quality control for all the products that we made, which, for somebody who went from not knowing anything about it really about the product or even
To being
technology,
an expert, to being an
basically
inspector.
being the guy who has the final say on something before it ships out
Yeah.
or whatever. That was pretty good. So, building on that, doing a good job, and then saying, like, hey, gently suggesting ways that I could help them.
Okay.
Um,
How did you suggest ways? Did you like, hey man, we need this right now,
Well-
or did you kind of tiptoe around? it a
Well,
little
I mean,
bit,
part
or-
of who I am and the way my brain works is I see the flaws in things, or I see things that I think are flaws anyway. That would probably be a better way of putting it. And I just kind of would gently point out without making anybody feel like it was their fault or
Yeah.
anything, because obviously those flaws exist for a reason.
Mhm.
And if you point blame, especially at someone who's your boss, they're going to feel
It's
bad about that.
disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah, I know
and,
more than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. So I gently suggested, hey, maybe we could do this or that. And, their response was, well, we have to work with this other person and, our manufacturer that builds these things and they do the, some of the design work. And I said, well, I could do that.
Mhm.
I know softwares. I know design. I can do this. So I
And
brought.
did you really know that you could do that, or were you just kind of like promising more than you can really do, or was it a little bit of both?
Well, it's a little bit of both because, I don't necessarily know their process. I know the more architectural process.
Yeah.
And part of what they did was, they would, it's a bunch of engineers and they would kind of like do drawings and then submit them to somebody and they'd do it. But they didn't really have a design review process or anything like that.
Like
so,
it works, move forward.
Exactly. And I was like, like let's iron out these kinks and stuff like that. And they had a bunch of roadblocks. And what I did was I surmounted those roadblocks. So I just said, like I can fix these problems that you have and move on. So I brought in my old, my school laptop and I did some design work for them. And really where it came down to is I waited for the right opportunity. There was a point where we needed to fit some hardware into a box, basically building a computer enclosure, a very low profile, all custom stuff. It didn't work because there were new parts that didn't fit in it. And I said, like, look, I can design this, I can redesign this, I can make it work, and we can do it quick and we can do it cheap. Like I used my expertise.
But you
to
also
get it done.
use some buzzwords there, cheap, efficient, optimized.
Yeah, well, you have to make it not only.
So
I mean, because the thing is,
you're definitely selling your idea,
Yeah.
your abilities.
it's business. It's business. Like that's what they care about. The bottom line is the bottom line. And
God, if
by
I have
that
a
I
nickel
mean
for every time I hear bottom line at my job, like I'd have like at least 4 nickels. a day.
exactly, exactly. So like the thing is you have to convince them of your higher ideals on the things
On
that
their
they care
product,
about. Because they're happy with the product because it sells. I can make it better. I could probably make it sell better.
Yeah.
But I can't prove that I can do that to them. But what I can do is I can,
Make it look
reduce
cool.
costs in the meantime. And if I can inject my design ideals into their, cost pro forma, let's say, and it's either going to cost the same or cheaper, but it's also going to solve X, Y, and Z problem, then, they have no reason to not do it. And what I did is I brought my own resources to the table to solve the problem. So I did it without them having to spend any money initially and, just did like a test. And it came out wonderfully.
Fuck yeah.
It exceeded their expectations for sure. And at that point, they were ready to invest in me and my ideas.
Right on.
So now now I'm designing.
Right on.
So, after 3 months of working in a job, I'm designing when they thought they had no need for a designer.
When I was an architect, I always heard the term, instead of finding the job you want, creating the job you want.
And that's exactly what I did.
Fuck yeah.
Even though it's not exactly the job I want, it's a huge step
Yeah.
forward. And what I can do now is say, when I go to apply for a firm that, is like, okay, well, we're really looking for someone with experience because there's tons of experience on the market right now, and I don't have any in an architectural firm. But what I can do is say, look, I'm a versatile thinker. I can do a lot of things. This is what I did with a job that was completely unrelated. I went in trying to get a part-time job. They offered me a full-time job doing something completely, out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I excelled at that and then turned it into the job that I wanted.
So if we ever have a website up and running, I would like to put a poll where our listeners would vote. Is Steve really an architect or an engineer?
Fuck you.
He creates his own job and optimizes their process and makes it more efficient.
Yeah.
Reduce cost.
I mean, the thing is my skill set is, I think, in the way my brain works, is set up to be an excellent engineer. However, I love architecture.
Fuck yeah.
I love space, and I like the intangible parts. Because the thing is like, I'm completely unimpressed with the things that are tangible. Like, and I'm good at that. What I'm impressed by are intangible things. When you enter a space and it's just like, this feels amazing. Like, I love being in this place. That's what I love, and I want to be able to do that. I don't think that that's necessarily like the thing I'm best at, but it's all I want in the world.
Fantastic.
So,
love it. I love hearing passion. Things that make you excited.
I mean, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Well, this has definitely shifted,
Yeah.
Maybe this is my linear thinking of keeping things concise, of selling yourself, marketability,
Yeah.
And maybe some of these strategies and techniques would work a little bit better when dealing with women that like to call you on the phone.
Well, I mean, and I think that actually has something to do with it. Like,
I think it's all related, When you're
yeah.
dealing with people and interacting with one another, like, how do you express what you really want and how you really feel, and be able to persuade someone to give you what you want, whether it be a job, a position, a career, or trying to convey your passion to someone else, or even to show your sexual interest into someone else.
I don't know. I mean,
and I think honesty, being straightforward, and as long as you're doing those strategies, you'll be able to keep on instilling the idea of your higher virtues and your higher pursuits, your passions, your skill set, your talents, but as long as you're being straightforward and honest, because I think that'll leave a strong foundation where I have this person who can do a job. This person can do this very well, talking about workplace at least. So let's give him a chance. Let's let him try to maybe make our product a little bit more efficient. Let's give him the opportunity to sell it a little bit better, because it's all taking risks,
Well, in my mind, especially in dealing with business, and maybe it's true with dealing with the relationships and things like that. It's about, unfortunately, it's a lot of times about minimizing risk. You gotta show them that you can do something that they can't, or show them that you can do something better, and they have to have confidence in you, and they have to trust you. And that's the same in a relationship. People have to have confidence in you, and they have to be able to trust you.
What's the best way to instill confidence in another person? By being confident.
Exactly. Yeah, there is that initially, but then it's also a track record. Like, do you consistently deliver on what you say? Do you do what you're gonna say you're gonna? Yeah. Do you do what you are gonna say you're gonna do, or something like that? That's both true in the workplace and a relationship. And I think a lot of times people, it's easier in a workplace because you have a boss and you have orders handed down and you have deadlines and expectations.
A little bit more black and white.
Yeah, it's much more black and white, and you don't even have to like each other so long as it works.
Yeah.
But relationships are so much more complex than that, because you don't have, deadlines and all these things, and it's easy to forget.
There's so many undertones.
Oh yeah, well, it's just everything is more subtle,
yeah.
and it's all more to do with feelings and less to do with results. Like if you were to be in a relationship where you provided for somebody and made their life easier and all this and that doesn't necessarily matter because it's about how they feel. So if they feel you are unreliable, it's not going to work.
But
even
I
though
don't know.
you
Sometimes
have been
if
reliable.
they feel you're unreliable, kind of makes you even more attractive.
I think it depends on the person.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah, the person definitely. And the notion of being mysterious. Like there's something very attractive of being mysterious.
Well, but the thing is that's all that beginning bit.
No, for sure. And I think we're talking about maintaining a relationship and keeping that momentum going, whereas that initial interaction,
Well, yeah.
We're talking about the interview versus and the approach versus maintaining your job and being productive and being a contributing member of the relationship instead of just someone that's floating by.
Exactly. And I think, jobs and relationships, they all have that. There's the beginning phase where, everything is untested and it's all about what they maybe think of you. Could this work? Maybe. I don't really have any, it's even in jobs when you get hired, you have that trial phase where they're like, 90 days, if we don't like you, you're fucking out of here.
Oh man, have you experienced that at work yet?
What?
Some guy coming in and he's gone like a month later?
It might happen soon. I don't necessarily want to say too much.
Money.
I don't. No, not even that. I think I'm pretty cemented. Yeah. But we hired this new guy, and he's, he's a little bit slower on the uptake than they would like. And I think too, part of it, one of my bosses said they felt a little spoiled after me because I, even though I had I had no experience in the field, and they knew that when they hired me, but I had certain outlying interests and skills that they thought could bear, and all the parts that I didn't really know I picked up really quickly. And
so what you're saying is you at your job right now is like when a hot girl or a mediocre girl hangs out around a fat chick, and that mediocre girl automatically gains like another 10 points.
I mean, I don't know. I guess what I would put it as is like, if my boss was a handsome man who hired me, I don't even know where I'm going with this. Okay,
not to undermine your skill set.
No.
But, you're obviously carrying your weight very well. But I think they're maybe giving you even more value because they're able to see that you have a rare skill set because of this person that may or may not be completely incompetent, but they're falling short.
No, this person is completely competent.
Okay.
Has a valuable skill set in a field that's related, but they're not picking up all the, the minor details, all the little things, I mean, it's just like any job.
But they're still valuing your skills because they're able to see how much more you're able to bring to the table.
Right.
Compared to...
I mean, it's just that, I was able to learn the job and excel at it and then actually add my own, add something to the team, So it was like, okay, they're all lacking in this area, and I said, okay, well, once I've learned all this, I'd like to also do this to make it a better product, make a better overall experience, and he so far has had a hard time picking up on the basics, and then in addition to that, hasn't really figured out a way to bring his his other skill sets to bear. So
how to be successful in business? Be a badass.
Well,
boom.
I mean, I think the thing is you have to also be confident and creative. I went into it thinking like, okay, well, they hired me, they know that I don't know this stuff, but I know these other things. How can I bring my skills to bear? While I'm learning these skills that I need to know, how do I make myself worthwhile? Yeah. What do I bring to the table that they don't have? Yeah. And that's what I was always looking to do. And then, that translated into me being able to do the things that I wanted to do.
Okay.
So, you know.
So, how do we translate that into female attraction?
Well, first off, you get real quiet.
And speak in a voice like you.
Talking to the microphone. Talk into their ear like this. And the more say, excuse me, could you show me where the bathroom is? Oh my God. No, you don't do any of those things.
No? Damn it!
No, I
I was
think
already planning my night out. Fuck.
I think with relationships, and you know, I feel like at this point maybe I'm not the the one to be talking about how to have a successful relationship, seeing how it's like I'm out of it.
Oh,
But
and look at
but
me, I have crazy bitches. So
right?
No.
No,
Do not
You're
hit-
doing a really good
No,
job too.
do
but-
not listen to our advice.
No, but I mean, I think it goes back to, I wouldn't say, you know, it's also another important part of business, and I think relationships is also managing expectations.
Yeah.
You don't promise the world. You promise what you can deliver, and then you over deliver.
Under promise, over deliver.
No, you promise the right thing. You promise what they need, and then you over deliver. Because if you under promise, you know, then they're not gonna give you, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, under promise, over deliver is definitely better than, you know, promise and then under deliver.
I work at an engineering firm, Steve.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say that, you know, you wanna manage expectations by making sure that their expectations are realistic, but then you put in your fucking hard work.
Yeah.
And you go further. And I think in a relationship, if you do the same thing, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, I can definitely see that the reason my last relationship failed is because I stopped trying.
Yeah.
You know, like
You get
I
comfortable,
didn't.
you know?
Yeah, I didn't appreciate it enough, and so it went away.
But why didn't you? Like, were you not getting enough? Because I believe if you're not, it's a two-way street.
Well,
you know?
absolutely.
And if you're not getting enough, then why even put in any effort?
Well, the thing is,
And I believe that I have been guilty of that. I'm not getting anything out of this besides company. And the company that I'm getting is bland.
sure.
So
I mean, I would say that I wasn't getting enough of what I wanted because I wasn't giving enough of what she wanted.
Yeah, it's a total cyclical.
It's a two-way
process,
street,
you know?
and I think that just like in business or, you know, at work, you have to be the one to, you know, like if you want to be successful, and I've realized this now, and not while I was in the relationship, obviously, but if you want,
Hindsight.
yeah, exactly. But that's what we do as humans. We grow.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be the one to put out the extra effort,
So
go
is this,
the extra mile.
But is this just a male?
No,
attitude,
no,
or is it
absolutely
also-
not. No, it goes both ways. And
Yeah.
I think that a successful, healthy relationship has both parties acting the same way, where they go far. I mean, imagine how great that would be if you and your partner were going the extra mile.
I think that's the ideal case, you know, and to all of you who have that, congratulations. But it's you know, it's a
Well, you know, they say like a good relationship is, you know, you have to work at it. And the thing is I, you know,
I've definitely been
I had a
immature,
very,
you know, and not really put the work in.
yeah, well, and you know, like
But,
I had a very comfortable thing, and it was like I thought that it could just coast,
Yeah.
and that's not the case. So, you know, it fell apart.
Yep. Well, now you know.
Exactly.
And if you don't know,
Now you know.
Nigga. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, you know, work hard at every aspect of your life that you care about. And that's the thing,
not
is like,
taking it too seriously.
well, I mean, you take it seriously, but you can't take it seriously. You know, like you have to care about it, but don't kill it.
Yeah.
Don't smother it.
But I think this discussion was good, you know, because we were able to talk about the points in which you do need to care about, you do need to put effort into it, but, you know, this is life. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is like you have to enjoy, you know, if you want to be successful, you have to find work that you enjoy, and you have to find people that you enjoy, and
Okay.
and I mean, and that's where
Because when
I
you're with
really
people that
like,
you don't enjoy, then it's just work.
Exactly.
And it's painful. And then you stop giving a shit.
and the same with work.
Yeah.
If you don't care about it,
You start giving a shit.
and that's the thing is like the job that I have. It's a good job, and I recognize that, but it's not what I want to be doing necessarily. But at the same time, I can enjoy excelling at it. I can enjoy doing a good job. And when I can't, then I definitely have to move on.
Yeah.
And the thing is I mean, I think that I will move on to try to get to, a more I don't know,
Architectural position?
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably move jobs before I burn myself out on this one, which is
Would
a
you
good
take
feeling.
a lower paying job for architecture?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a long-term thinker.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
my goals are long-term, and I'll take a like a pretty significant. I would actually have to take a pretty
I
significant
think
cut.
that goes back to living honestly
Yes.
and straightforwardly.
I mean, according to the AIA's pay guidelines, which are probably
AIA
not
is
being.
a remarkable company and organization.
It's an organization.
Sorry.
Not a company.
Excuse me.
God,
They'd love to take your money, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I'm not really receiving a whole lot of benefits from that.
AIA, how about some...
Kickback.
what are the restaurants they go to? Seasons and...
Yeah, they go to a bunch. I don't know. It's whatever. Anyway, if I was getting paid what a first year intern architect got paid, then yeah, I'd be taking a probably like close to a 30%, 40% pay cut, which, money isn't everything, although it has brought you this podcast.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
Anyway,
And Marble Brewery.
Marble Brewery.
Are they clashing with Tractor? Because we already shouted out to Tractor.
I mean, I prefer Marble to Tractor.
But La Cumbre just won like some awesome award for being like best brewery in the nation.
Okay. I've been to and I kind of got into this on Facebook, and I will talk. I have a topic about Facebook that I want to talk about. That'll probably be for the next podcast.
I kind of have a good topic for that too.
Okay, good,
Cool.
because that'll be our next podcast.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it got rated in the top 10.
Wow.
I don't exactly know, but I've tried maybe 25 to 30 breweries in person in my life across this country and actually across Europe and North America. La Cumbre is not in the top 10 of those.
I guess I'm just too sheltered because I think it's amazing.
I think it's good. I think it's a high quality. I mean, I think it's top quality beer, but it's overrated still.
I don't know how much time you have, but if you want to pull up the results of that top 10, I think it'd be good data just to
let's see if I can bring that
kind
up.
of go through right now.
I don't even know what topic.
I know someone posted on Facebook.
Ex-friend of yours?
Yes. Damn it, Steve.
I know. Okay, so it's Beer Citizens 2013
Are they a
year
reputable
in beer. I don't know.
Beer Citizens? Come on.
I don't know. I mean, they have categories where it's top rated,
But they do sound like beer snobs,
most reviewed,
Okay.
not revered, and
Easy
most followed. And, I mean, so they have...
let's see what their results said.
So top rated breweries, Hill Farmstead Brewery, never heard of it.
Where are they from?
I don't know. Russian River Brewing, and then first place is The Alchemist. Second place is Hill Farmstead Brewery. Third place, Russian River Brewing. Fourth place, La Cumbre Brewing Co. That's here.
Wow.
And, the rest is just a bunch of
Is,
ones I've never heard of.
Stone
is in their most followed category, is
Okay.
number 1. And, I mean, Stone, as far as hoppy beers go, one of the best.
What about Ska? Ska Brewery is pretty
I think that
I like
they're
their
pretty.
shit.
I think they're a quality beer for the most part.
What about Coors?
You
with their new Belgium.
Coors, the only way I'm imbibing Coors is if it's like a beer enema where I don't have to taste it, but I get the drunken effects.
So speaking of beer leaving your body, I need to take a piss.
Okay, well then I think that then maybe this is where we end this podcast.
All right. Well, you know.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
No, we don't need to-
Your Twitter?
You know, follow Mr. Bachicha at Twitter. At Mr. Bachicha on Twitter.
Okay.
He is a scientist that's as gangsta as Newton. So if you're looking for a little scientific comedy, go for it.
And if you want to unfollow me quickly, you can follow me at Stephen Pryor.
Yeah.
And fuck you.
Do we need like an outro?
We do.
song?
I've just realized we need an outro song, and I don't have one. So fuck off and good night.
Fuck off.